Hello, Sergeant Jackie Gray here tonight to come in and tell you a little bit about how everything is falling into place on finding who killed Mrs. White, where they killed Mrs. White, and how they killed Mrs. White. Interesting. First off, I want to apologize because I am late. In sharing these tidbits with you, but I have been very busy. These ladies of this mafia group are not very cooperative. I have to give you that right now. I have to tell you, they are not cooperative in the least. Takes you for days to get them in, just to sit and chat with you. You would think that uh, they're guilty of something. They make one excuse after the other not to want to come in. And then you have to go track them all down and track each one of them down one by one. So, I know you've been watching some of their confessions or their so-called innocence videos. Uh, so, let's kind of recap. Let's recap what's going on here. As we know, Mrs. White, poor Mrs. White, beloved by so many in the community, was murdered. Very unethical way of leaving this world. And my job seems to is to try to ask the questions from each of these ladies to kind of find out who's telling the truth and who's not telling all of the truth. So, let's start with Mrs. Dr. Brenda Orchard. That gal, I'm telling you what, she thinks she's pulling the wool over everybody's eyes, but her playing the innocent with her in the operating room, embossing organ parts, uh, doesn't have quite the control on her temper either, if I remember correctly. She was definitely not an easy subject to speak with. She was definitely adamant to point the finger elsewhere. And to believe it or not, she's pointing it at me, of all people. Of course, you know, how ridiculous is that? I'm an officer of the law. I'm here to protect the good citizens of this sweet little town. So, while she pretends to be visiting Graphic 45's attic and playing with her heat gun, which she repeatedly said she uses in the operating room, but yet repeatedly tells me it's a low temperature gun, but so vividly explains to you on her video how hot it gets and how it can really burn things. And then wants to know what it would be like to stick it up somebody's mouth, or let alone in their ear to fry their brains. Interesting, interesting. And then, you know, jealousy. You could just see the green around her face while she was in talking to me. You know, it's no secret she's having some problems at home, and she's been looking elsewhere, and I guess you can't take care of what's at home. You're not going to take care of what's out there as well. So, um, and then we have Mrs. Sweet Moments. Yeah, Mrs. Sweet Moments. Oh, let me tell you, pure and innocent, she isn't. Trust me. Um, she sure has fun in the authentique study there. She goes there quite often. And it's interesting when you find in her pockets her little glossy accent with the fine tip 18 gauge needle. I wonder what she's doing with that in her pocket. Yes, I could see using that for crafting, but why would you carry it around with you, for God's sake? But, you know, I've heard when that stuff dries, it dries hard. Hard as a rock. Interesting. Interesting. Be interesting to find out exactly the coroner's autopsy comes back with exactly how Mrs. White died. Bear with me just 1 minute, please. My apologies. I had a call come through with another tip. So, very, very interesting with this Mrs. Sweet Moments. And again, the audacity of her pointing the finger at me. Yes, she's married. Is she happily married? Doesn't mean she can't be a murderer just because she has a husband at home. And then we have Patty Primrose. Huh. Interesting. Hanging out in the Bow Bunny Hall, missing all the flowers and plants that they keep in there, with her water mister that you can't see what's inside. She hasn't given me a chance to take a test. I would love to be able to have that water mister for just 10 minutes and put those little test strips in it to see if there's any residue left in those. Yes, yes, Mrs. Patty Primrose. Yes, so new to the team, but playing so innocent. And then Ginger Kim. Oh my gosh. I'm telling you what, I think she's been drinking those stickles. I know she spends a lot of time in the Graphic 45 wine cellar, but I'm telling you what, she's always got those stickles with her, so I'm wondering what else is she's doing with them. Interesting there too as well, because don't they dry a little hard when you put them on something? And then Madame Celeste. Yeah, she's reading her cards. Yeah. Ha ha ha. Yeah, she brought them with her when we talked. She laid them out. She built her uh little game on the table with her cards and started showing me this and showing me that. But she still can't answer to why her and Mrs. White were in the bathroom together. That is something that I want to know. She has not been able to answer that one. And then we've got Mrs. Peacock. Yes, screaming at me. Oh, of all things. Do you think I'm going to let somebody come in this office and sit there and scream at me? Yeah. It's funny. She couldn't answer any of my questions. All she kept doing was screaming. So, yeah, I could see where she lost her voice. And she does need to probably visit another powder room besides Bo Bunny. She can go hire a lawyer. I've heard the rumors. She's hiring a lawyer, and he hasn't returned any of my calls, or she hasn't returned any of my calls, whichever. But we'll meet one day. We'll meet before this all comes out. And then we have Mrs. Peaches. Good old Mrs. Peaches. Oh, I feel so sorry for her. I've never seen a woman cry so much in my life. Yeah. So between her little tea cakes that she was eating with Mrs. White in the photoplay kitchen, her glue gun, and what is she going to do? She says it doesn't hold bullets. But boy, when that glue dries, it's hot before it dries. And when it dries, it's hard too. And then, oh, wasn't it so funny? Excuse me, how she had little specks on her glove, seeping through her glove, takes them off, starts wiping her hands off. Red paint, that didn't look like red paint. It was mighty a light for being paint. Red paint would be dark, not as light as that. And it was quite easy to come off her hands as well. I don't know about you, but if you have dry paint on your fingertips, I don't think it'd be that easy with a baby wipe or not to get off. So, let me see who else we are missing here. So, Professor Kimmy. Sorry, yeah. And that's another one. Pointing the finger at me. I'm going to tell you right now, ladies, I have no problem telling you where I was the night that Mrs. White was killed. I have no problem whatsoever telling you that I was in the Cartabella bedroom. Yes, the Cartabella bedroom. Gorgeous, gorgeous room. Oh, you should see the walls are papered in the most gorgeous patterns. The bedspread, well, both sides, on top and when you turn it down, gorgeous, gorgeous patterns. Um, yeah, I have an alibi. I was in the Cartabella bedroom. Was I alone? I'm not going to tell you that because that's personal business. When I'm off duty, my time is my time. So, it will be interesting to see, speaking with Mrs. Peacock and Madame Celeste, those are the last two I still need to talk with. And, of course, we need to watch out for Ginger Kim and her visiting the wine cellar, Graphic 45 wine cellar. Mrs. Sweet Moments, again, keep an eye on the authentic study, and she seems to go there a lot. Don't think I'd be alone in the study with her if I was you. And then, if you're going for surgery, I recommend going out of town, going out of state, going anywhere that Dr. Brenda Orchard is not affiliated with. I wouldn't trust that woman with a heat gun or a scalpel or a bone folder, for that matter. And Miss Patty Primrose, I still don't know about that one. That one, still we need to chat again. So, and Mrs. Peaches, God love you, honey. I suggest you invest in some more Kleenexes. And red paint, I'd like to see that bucket of red paint, honey. So, until next time, I'm signing off. Sergeant Gray here. Have a good evening.